Hola, chicas, your seasoned sis here with the latest episode that I am calling American Church Girl Idol. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share. This podcast is the audio version of a blog post of the same name. If you would like to connect to the links from that post, go to www.r-u-the-one.com. I have added a few new insights and another voice from the Christian gospel world. I haven't watched American Idol in eons. Hopefuls come from across the country to shoot their shots at a singing career. They risk it all in front of a panel of industry experts. Some have or have had singing careers. Yes, the winner gets a recording contract, but ultimately the admiration of people everywhere is the desire. Idolization is the goal. Idolatry is defined as such: to worship as a god, and broadly, to love or admire to excess. In many communities, church communities, marriage is the idol for singles, particularly for women. Locking her eyes with her groom across the altar, beautifully unveiled, the American church girl idol is envied by every unmarried woman in the congregation. One of the topics on 30 Minutes with the Perrys is the idolatry of marriage. Preston and Jackie Hill Perry believe that marriage is a high honor. However, it is not the highest honor as many churches lead us to believe. External pressure makes women think that maybe the only thing God has for me is marriage, states Jackie. Preston shared that people put marriage before God as a cure for their issues. That gives marriage more power than it should have. There are some religions that are Christian adjacent, or dare I say cults, that teach girls that being a wife, then mother, is their sole purpose. Education is not necessary, neither is working outside of the home. If you are on this earth to have as many children as possible, there is no capacity for anything else. Mike Leake, lead pastor at Calvary of Neosho, Missouri, writes, "The church can mistakenly exalt marriage to a position that is unhealthy. This causes singles to feel as if they are second class. In doing this, we end up cooperating with, rather than mortifying, a bent toward an idolatrous view of marriage." In the article, Why Christian Girls Idolize Marriage, author, speaker, and public theologian Felicia Massenheimer encapsulates the church's missteps with these statements. Buoyed by our culture's exploitation of all things romantic, Christian girls receive an idealized image of what real marriage looks like. This Photoshop version presents marriage as a place void of insecurity, disappointment, and disagreement. To save face, married couples in the church omit the bad and ugly and over-amplify the good and pretty. True confession, I enjoyed the losers from American Idol. Their friends and families didn't have the heart to tell them that they dreamt an impossible dream. Their expectations were woefully unrealistic. Fame, fortune, and fandom were not going to be their lives. Their emotions ranged from crestfallen to atomic rage. American church girls' emotions are prey during the waiting game. Why? Marriage is hyped up and honesty is downplayed within the church's four walls. Have the unwed melted down internally solo? Or have we externally held pity parties with other disappointed contestants? The target audience of church singles conferences is primarily women. The focus is more on marriage prep than strategies for flourishing during singleness. Church programming is geared toward couples and families and often overlooks the single's point of view. Marriage is everything, the total package. Your spouse is your all in all. Marriage is offered as the only alternative to being alone, Hill Perry emphasized. Community, which consists of family, friends, neighbors, and co-workers, is another alternative. Community is just as vital to singles as married folks. Never married women are not the only contestants on American Church Girl Idol. With little or no time to adjust to their new normal, widows and divorcees also have had applications submitted on their behalf. In the 1990 film, To Sleep with Anger, Gideon was very, very sick, nigh unto death. Family and friends held a vigil at the home to support. A longtime family friend, Okra, approaches Gideon's wife, Susie, with a proposal to become her new husband. Never mind that Gideon is still in the land of the living. If your family and friends never cared for your ex, visions of matchmaking missions and dating apps dance in their heads. Next, they nudge you to get back in the saddle again, whether you express interest or not. Now for an addendum. I took the clickbait from Cam Newton's Funky Friday podcast. In 3 minutes and 30 seconds, Kirk Franklin explained why he thinks marriage, among other things, has been weaponized by Western Christianity. Some of the points he made were: marriage is a prerequisite for identity. Unmarried people are broken. I'm inserting these equations. 1 + 1 = 2, meaning married, valuable, complete. 1 + -1 = 0, single, no value, incomplete. Marriage disqualifies folks from ministry. I wonder if this happens more with men than women. Marriage fulfills God's will for your life. Kirk insists that demanding that everyone get married fulfills man's dogma. He further stated that you can be single and be used by God and have purpose. One bullet in the weapons chamber is 1 Corinthians 7:9, which contains 2 sentences. It reads as such: "But if they cannot control themselves, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion." The second sentence is the primary focus. I totally agree with Mr. Franklin that some churches pressure people into getting married and then crucify them when the marriage ends in divorce. Reading the Bible provokes questions in me. I do not pretend to be a Bible scholar and am not certificated or licensed. I just have questions. When marriage weighed heavily on my mind, I was amening Paul for verses 1 through 6 of 1 Corinthians chapter 7. I, however, wanted to part ways with him for verses 7 and 8. Verse 7 says, "I wish that all men were as I am, but each man has his own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that." My desperate self was like, somebody help me find a receipt for this here gift. I don't want it. I hope to trade it in for something of greater value, like a wedding. Verse 8 says, "Now to the unmarried and widows I say this, it is good for them to remain unmarried as I am." Miss me with that, Saul. Back to verse 9. "But if they cannot control themselves, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn with passion." Lord, you gonna have to keep me from combusting. You see, I am like dry brush during a drought, trying my best to avoid encounters with men who strike matches and flick lighters. Does the burning extend beyond the sexual? Have we lusted to be like others to maintain the status quo? Are we consumed with FOMO, fear of missing out? Do we want the infernal of Mama Nim's nagging to fizzle out? Are we trying to silence the marching of time? Marriage and singleness are both gifts. Yet I have been guilty of viewing singleness like a used car that I wanted to upgrade to a brand new luxury model. Both run fine. However, appearances dictate a seat behind the wheel of the latter. Does the church paint unbalanced pictures of singleness and marriage? What say you? Say it in the comments. This is your seasoned sis saying thanks for joining me. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and share. Until next time, later girlies.